Hi, and welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about household budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. So if any of those sound like a vibe to you, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below, because I'd love to hear from you. I am posting my October budget. I am several weeks late. I had actually filmed this video in mid-September. I think I did it on the 19th. But then, for whatever reason, I never uploaded it. I also didn't record an audio track because I just recorded myself filling in the numbers and had the intention of coming back and doing that later. So now I'm recording this voiceover 3 weeks after the fact and trying to remember everything that I did and why. So first off, I am filling in some of the numbers that are just being copied over from the previous month. You can see I've got my September budget here on the right, and I'm referencing that to fill in some of the things that are constant from month to month. So my income tends to be the same. Cell phone reimbursement is the same. I don't know at the point that I'm filming this whether I will have a carryover from September or not, so I don't fill that in. You can see in the September budget that I did have a carryover from August, but I didn't have it as part of the plan. It just came in later. So now I'm starting to fill in my bills. I've got the rent, the water, sewer, garbage, and my iCloud bill. I'm skipping Orca this month. Orca is the regional transit card. I don't go to the office 3 days a week like I had been in the past, so I don't need to put as much money on the transit card. Since I put money on it in September, I'm not going to do it in October. And I'm filling in other expenses here. Quantum Fiber, which is my internet. YouTube Premium, which is pretty much the only subscription that I have on a monthly basis. I do have some others, but they come out annually, usually. And then we've got PUD, which is electricity, $60, and Affirm. Nope, not Affirm, because I paid that off. What's next? Visible, which is my cell phone plan. So those are all of the bills that I have every single month. It's not many. And then I will go to look at my less frequent bills. So there's my monthly subscription tracker. Now I'm looking at my yearly subscription tracker just to see if anything's coming out in October, and I don't see anything there. And then I have my non-monthly recurring expense planner. So this is things like, well, I've only got two on here, prescriptions and haircut. I'm going to write down haircut, but I didn't write down prescriptions, and I do need to get those in October. So I came back afterward and added those to the budget. So if you watch my monthly, or rather my weekly budget update videos, the weekly reel, you'll see that I did put in those prescriptions later. Okay, so now I'm going to do the wallet spend, and this I do for every Friday. My budget weeks start on Friday and end on Thursday, and lucky me, there's 5 of those in October. I feel like I've already had 5 or 6 months with 5 Fridays in them, rather, already this year. And there should really only be 4 total in the whole year. So I don't know what that's about. But at any rate, I am filling in $250 a week, and I'll talk more about that later when I get to a different worksheet. Now I am filling in the stockpiles. And stockpiles are, I guess, some people call them sinking funds. I call them stockpiles because these are my big goals. These aren't things that I just save up for, every month, like clothes, household, those kinds of things. This is big goals. So right now what I'm stockpiling for is the big move, which is where I plan on moving to a different state at some point in 2026. I don't know which state, and I don't know exactly when, but it's kind of in my plans. So I just went back and totaled up the bills column because I realized I'd forgotten to do that. So stockpiles I do by Wednesday. This is money from Ready Budget Game, which comes out on Monday, and my Savings Challenge Book Day, which has been Wednesday, but I'm changing that up this week. So it will be now on Tuesday. I will do the Savings Challenge book, which right now is Happy Hallowelth, as well as some other savings challenges. And then Wednesday will continue to be the Paint by Sticker and my money talks, where I talk about my experience with money from childhood through adolescence and adulthood and all of that. So I did some calculations here to figure out how much I would have to put toward my stockpiles this month, and I can do $500 a week. So that is what I did. I'm just going to fill in all the totals here, carry them over. I am using an erasable pen on this sheet. I come back and do this again with a permanent marker. But on this sheet and the next one, the first draft I always do with erasable pen just because I make mistakes and I need to be able to go back in and fix them, and I don't want to have a whole bunch of whiteout all over the page. So just totaling everything up here so I can get the remainder. So 148 turned out to be the remainder, but then I used that for prescriptions. So the remainder is going to be tight this month. October is a very tight budget because there's 5 Fridays and 5 Wednesdays. So a lot of saving and a lot of spending. Next, we're going to move on to the cash allocation sheet, and this is where I break down my wallet spending and my stockpiles for the month. So I'm going to fill in the month and the year, and then I will start with the wallet spend. So each week I give myself $200 for card spending, and that means credit card spending. And then I give myself $50 for cash. And I take $50 out of the bank. Well, I take $50 per week out of the bank at the start of the month. So I have it all allocated. And then I apportion $50 per week to my personal spending. Any money that I don't spend, I roll into a special occasions fund. So that could be, buying gifts for a special occasion, whether it's a birthday, Christmas, a wedding, baby shower, bridal shower, stag party, whatever. And then also any just holiday events. So maybe holiday travel, maybe travel to go see somebody, just kind of a slush fund. So the reason that I give myself 200 on card and 50 in cash is because for me, there's just sometimes I just don't want to bring out a credit card. Usually that is when I'm being asked to tip for an occasion that I feel like doesn't deserve a tip. I really don't like being put in that uncomfortable position. So instead of, putting no on the credit card, I just pay in cash and take my change, and that's how it goes. So filling in for the last week here, card and cash. And I will forget to total it, but I'll come back and do that later. Now I'm going to do the stockpiles, and this is going to be messy. This is where I spend some time thinking, okay, what do I really want to do with all of this money in October? So there is potential for me to travel in November and potential for me to travel in December. I don't have anything firm committed yet, but I want to have some money set aside so that if I decide to travel in November, I will have the money available, or December for that matter. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up putting $300 a week toward the big move, which again is my big goal, where I plan on relocating, and that is a $15,000 goal. And right now I've got somewhere around 6,000 saved, 5 or 6,000. I think it's 6,000. So I'm on my way, but I'm still pretty far off from achieving that goal. So you can see here I've put down $500 in week 1 for the big move and $500 in week 2 for travel, but I'm going to go back and change that. So lots of erasing, and that's why it's good to use an erasable pen. I would use a pencil, but I don't think that shows up very well on camera. So I'm using this Pilot Friction pen. They're not my favorite, but they are helpful. Sometimes I forget that I've used a friction pen. There was an instance last month where I had written something on a sticky note, just jotted down a note, and then I put a hot dish on top of it for lunch or dinner or something one day when I was eating at my desk. And when I lifted it up, half the ink was gone. So I had to stick that thing in the freezer to get the ink to reappear. But it did. It came back. So now I'm debating on, as you see me pondering here, what I really want to do with all this money. And so I go back and start making changes. I don't know that I will spend that travel money in November and December, but it's nice to know that if I do need it, it's there. And if I don't, then I'll just stick it into the big move at some other point. One other thing that's coming up is if I don't go out of town for Christmas, I usually give myself like a mini retreat where I go out of town but local, and I just spend time reflecting. I plan for next year. I get caught up on all of the life tasks that I've put off. Things like cleaning out my email inboxes and catching up on correspondence and cleaning out my notes app where I've just made brain dumps throughout the year and things like that. So, okay, I think I've got the hang of it here, and I know I've spent a lot of time on this page, but these are important goals to me. I want to be sure that, and there I go, filling in that total. I want to be sure that I'm putting my money toward where I actually want it to go, especially when we're talking about $2,500 in the space of 1 month. I'm working hard to earn that money, and I'm working hard not to spend it by budgeting and being mindful of where my money is going. So I want to be sure that I'm doing right by myself and putting it toward where it actually needs to go or where I really want it to go. So another mistake here with the date, so I got to fix that. So now I'm finally into the last Wednesday of the month. 300 in the big move and 200 in travel. So once I finish that off, I will total it, which will be $2,500, which matches what's in the monthly budget overview for October. You can see it there on the right-hand side of the screen. And I'm just verifying that I did indeed do $500 a week, so I didn't overplan or overcommit. Okay, so that's it for this sheet. And next, I'm going to work on the cash flow sheet. And I'm not going to be able to do very much here. I'm just going to fill in the month and the year. At the time that I'm filming this, which is 2 weeks before the month actually starts, I don't know what my beginning balance will be because I'm still in the month prior. So I did fill this in for the beginning balance in my weekly update video, the weekly reel that I posted on the 3rd. And it's kind of the same for the expense tracker. I'm just getting it set up. And you can see here I've switched to a permanent ink pen. So I'm not using the erasable marker for these because there's not much to fill in. And now the last sheet that I'm going to work on here is the month-end review. And I am just kind of importing or carrying over the numbers from the monthly budget overview so that when I get to the end of the month and I enter the totals here, I can reflect on how the month went and whether I did well or whether I did not well. I like to think that some months I hit it out of the park and other months, I fall flat on my face like anybody. But at least I'm paying attention and I'm trying to improve every time I do it. So I'm just going to continue filling this in here as best I can, and I want to thank you so much for watching and for being patient with me while I took my own sweet time getting this video up this month. Hopefully November will be better, like I say. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below. And until I see you in the next one, take care.